Hey guys, and welcome back. This is Chosen Architect. Today we're jumping back into some more mechanical mastery. I hope you guys are ready. So after last episode of getting up the ore processing stations, we now have the ability to start expanding on this. Now at the moment I'm not doing the full 25, but I am sending it now basalt's powder, and we do have this in abundant supply, and apparently the basalt's powder should be doing about 1.25, not 2.5, but 1.25, which is pretty nice. We could potentially do the earth charges as well, but we'd have to set up all kinds of stuff for this. That's something we'll definitely do in the future, but for right now this is going to be more than sufficient, and it's going to definitely reduce our total EMC cost for all of our materials. Now today I want to continue our path on the tier 4 and continue working our way towards the tier 4 essence. Now this shouldn't be too difficult for us to do. However, we do have to automate making blaze cakes, and it's actually not that difficult of a task to do, and we should be able to handle this no problem. So we're going to be automating some blaze cakes and working our way towards this inert. Now this inert needs fizzle fuel pellets, and if you don't know how the process of making fizzle fuel goes, it is quite the tedious process. Once you get it up and running, though, you can duplicate it and all that stuff. But getting it up and running is quite the process and does require quite a bit of ingredients in order to keep this up and running. Thankfully, we just need these pellets, which are the combination of fizzle fuel mixed with the fluorite dust. So this should be really easy to do, like to maintain this and to make this. The main use for fizzle fuel is for a fission reactor, and the fission reactor is how you make antimatter, and yeah, through all the byproducts and stuff that all generates. And that is a very lengthy process and probably will take an episode or two. But today, let's just do the create stuff, right? Let's go ahead and just get this set up, and we're also going to need to probably start work on the fractionating still and getting refined fuel, which is actually a really easy process with a couple machines. So how are we going to automate blaze cakes? It requires eggs, sugar, and cinder flour. Thankfully, we're already producing cinder flour. That's easy. Eggs, we're technically already producing. However, it's just going to require a couple of automation steps, right? So we can make dough already. We already have that set up. But now we're going to utilize that haunting that we set up, right? We have a haunter over here. So we should be able to get some recipes made up simply for doing that, right? So cake, let's see, cake, blaze cake. Let's go ahead and add these to our bookmark so I can see them. So this part right here, making eggs. So dough, we already have the recipe for, but the haunting we don't. So this is going to be a simple, just processing pattern that is going to be producing eggs from the dough, which I know that's very weird. I honestly don't know where that come from, but I guess it's to prevent you from needing to have a bunch of chickens in your world. So I should be able to put that here, and then this should work on request and should haunt that dough as needed and start to craft that dough as needed, and it will utilize whatever crafter we have that's crafting the dough. You can see right there. And then I think we have dough that gets washed in one of our washers. So I think what I want to do is I want to start a new line over here, and this is going to be a basin. Then we're going to have a mechanical press that goes on top of that, and we'll power everything from the back. Now I want this basin to dump the product that it's going to produce onto this belt line. The belt line doesn't have to be very long, by the way, but we will have it drop onto this belt line. It should automatically create a funnel. And then we're going to need a spout, and this spout right here is going to make the blaze cake. So this is ultimately going to be the blaze cake automation, and it should be very simple since behind this wall we have all of our power for the create mod. Now getting power to this whole setup is just as simple as this. So bam, it's all hooked together, our press is spinning, and everything's ready to go. I will need an exporter for this, so the exporter is going to be hooked in. And we're going to be making these blaze cakes, which require eggs. So we can put an egg in there. It's also going to require cinder flour. Let's see. I think it's cinder, C-I. Yep, cinder flour. And what else is it? Sugar. Now, sugar we do have on autocraft, so if I could spell sugar, there we go. Sugar does have an autocraft, but we are, yeah, both of these are going to be autocrafted. So yeah, sugar and eggs will be crafted. So we'll have to make sure to put a crafting upgrade so it does request that craft. And I think we just cable it up, hook in some cables, and we should be fine. There we go. Now, this is not ready to go just yet. You can see it is going to stop here. And should stop this process. Let me go ahead and grab one of these and make sure we put that in the recipe filter. There we go. So it's producing these. We don't have a destination for it to go to. But let me go ahead and set one up. So I'll put a barrel right here. And we can use a funnel. And this can be just a regular funnel. Nothing specific there. I think we might be able to get away with a thermal crucible. I don't know if the crucible will directly dump the fluid into the into this spout. I don't know just yet. Let's grab some netherrack and let's just test before I set up the automation for it. It does! Oh wow, that makes it so much quicker. Okay, so this is now going to start filling this. We do technically want to shut this off. So let's go ahead and shut it off. I want this to only produce so many of these. I don't want us to just continuously produce. That would just be a waste. So we'll say, let's keep at least 64 blaze cakes in here for now. And that will keep that nice and automated. And of course, with refined storage, we'll end up using a detector to do that. And we'll use an importer to make sure that we get these pulled back into our system upon demand, right? And we'll just create a drawer for those. Now, the detector on here, let's go ahead and say, like I said, 64. And we'll have it emit a signal when above the amount. And then we'll set this to only work without a redstone signal. So it should continue to work until it hits that amount. This will send a redstone signal and we'll shut it off. So there we go. Of course, you can flip your logic any different way. Whatever's comfortable for you. That's what I have found during this mod pack that feels more comfortable to me. So that's what I've been going with. But look at that. That's fantastic. That is easily able to keep up. And these bad boys last quite a while. So automating blaze cakes, what a simple task. Now, believe it or not, setting up this process right here with the fractionating still, that's gonna be a pretty easy process, I think. So we get these oil clumps, and the oil clumps can go into this right here, a magma crucible. So let me go ahead and get the magma crucible set up. So the magma crucible is then going to produce oil. And then what we need to do is take that oil and send it into the fractionating still. The fractionating still is then going to split this into two different products. So let's get some ender things here so that way we can get them powered up. And we can go ahead and set these right here on each side. Now, this by itself, the oil should be producing a bunch of different stuff, right? So let's see if I can't get a exporter onto the back of the magma crucible and get some cables hooked to it. There we go. Let's get that oil, right? Oil clumps. I think it'd be better just to go ahead and just actively set it up here. So oil clump, that should send that to the back. We should say input. And as we can see, that's producing crude oil. Nice and sped up. We want to export that to the top. Make sure we are importing this. This is then going to start to process. Of course, speed upgrades will dramatically help this. But crude oil in its own right, once produced and used, should produce bithium, which is this material right here, heavy oil and light oil. Two different types of oils, right? So that's why we have two more fractionating stills that are going to go right here. And then on the back, we can just set up an importer to make sure to import the actual item into our system. Same thing goes for these. These are going to export the items as well. But the main thing I want is I want to send these two separate oils into the different slots here. This being the back, this being the right. And so what I should do is, I don't know if it's going to 100% matter, but I want to make sure this up is going to export at one of these oils. Unless there's a specific pipe I'm going to need. Let's see, make sure that's on input. Why is that accepting crude oil? No. It like pulled crude oil out of the... What? Out of the container? That is definitely not what I wanted to do. What is even going on here? Okay, there we go. Now, once I placed it back, it's now pulling in the appropriate thing. I find it weird that it was extracting the crude oil. Inputting... Why would the input pull from there? I wonder if that's broken on the input. Either way, all I have to do to fix this is to replace. And now we have light oil going there, heavy oil going there, which is exactly what I want. And we have these both producing. It's going to produce an output, but it's also going to produce refined fuel, both of them. So I should be able to grab a tank. And this should automatically send the fluid to this tank, being refined, not lava, being a refined fluid. We just have to find a tank that's actually empty. I think this one has lava in it. This one has nothing. Perfect. There we go. And let's see. If I set the input to the top, be quick with it. Okay. Now it should be outputting the fluid. Output to the side. Refined fuel should now be going into this tank perfectly. Ah, there we go. And then the input, those importers, let's see, I'm gonna need to make a few importers. The importers are just gonna pull the byproducts that these are producing, like tar and sulfur dust, and it's going to put it back into our system. So now that most of the components for this are out of the way, well, it's time to get started with fizzle fuel. There's really nothing else left except for making the actual fizzle fuel to produce these pellets. So we are just about ready to get into this advanced mechanical essence because this just requires refined fuel in order to convert it into the advanced mechanical essence. And then from that point forward, it's just run to the races, man. We're like ready to go. So this process right here with the mixing and the superheated, there's a reason that we needed the blaze cake. This process is going to be easy to automate. We should be able to just click this on here with a clicker, which is going to be really easy to do. And that's basically it. So let's get fizzle fuel up and running. That's going to be a process. Honestly, there are some processes in modded Minecraft that I do dread. And this is actually one that I just dread every time because I've set it up so many times in other playthroughs that it just becomes a tedious headache. You would think, though, I would have it memorized at this point, when I almost do. Now, this first section that I'm going to be working on, part of the fizzle fuel generation, is going to require a few machines. So I'm kind of lining this up. I think I'm going to start the line right here. Should be fine. So I'm going to go one over. And right here is going to be the start. This is actually going to be a chemical oxidizer. So what we're going to feed into this is going to be all of that sulfur that we've been producing. Then that's going to go into a chemical infuser. And then we have another chemical infuser. This chemical infuser is going to use what this is producing along with another product. I believe we are going to supply this with oxygen as well. So this is going to take the sulfuric acid. It's pretty much the same process as this over here. I'm pretty sure. Sulfur trioxide. No, it's the sulfur dioxide. So yes, we're going to be making sulfur dioxide here. That's going to go into this infuser, which is also going to receive oxygen. And then that is going to go into this machine, which is another chemical infuser, which is going to receive the sulfur trioxide, and it's going to receive water vapor, which is going to come from our rotary condensator. We're going to have to feed this water, and that is going to go into this. And I believe it'll have to be in the decondensating, I think, mode. Actually, no, it's water vapor. It should be condensating, right? No, that's taking steam and turning it into water. We want to be turning it into water, so we want to decondensating. It's a lot to take in. Like I said, I've set this up quite a bit. Now, the next couple of lines are going to be a little bit different because I'm going to actually have power running back here. Now, for the next line, what we're going to end up doing is we are going to take uranium, uranium ingots, and we're going to turn that into yellow cake uranium. That yellow cake uranium then will go into a chemical oxidizer, and this should produce uranium oxide. And then that is going to end up leading into a chemical infuser again. So this is just one part of the chemical infuser, that uranium oxide. And then on the other side will be a chemical dissolution chamber. And then this chemical dissolution chamber is going to be accepting, I believe, oh, actually, I may have this a little bit off. We're going to actually have to move all of these over one just to make it a little bit cleaner. But these are all supposed to be moved over because what I want is I want that chemical dissolution chamber to accept what this chemical infuser is going to be making. So the dissolution chamber is going to be accepting that uranium oxide and is going to be producing and also accepting the hydrofluoric acid coming out of this, and it is going to be producing the uranium hexafluoride, which is then going to be turned into fissile fuel. Oh, there's a lot. So this will run into here, and then the main output will end up going into the isotropic centrifuge, which I think I have this backwards. I don't know. This is weird because I have to figure out exactly which side is what. I think I have this placed correctly. You have to go to the other side. So this is pretty much the setup that I tend to use. So cables, we just need to get some basic power cables. And if we run some basic power cables through here, as you can see, we get everything powered up, which is really nice. And it kind of keeps this setup a little bit compact. Now, keep in mind, we do need oxygen and stuff, which I may end up using our quantum entangle porters here, because I think we have oxygen built up in extra. Yeah, we have extra oxygen and stuff. So I want to use that on these different things. Now, this chemical dissolution chamber over here also needs fluorite, so it's probably best I also have another enrichment chamber here. And all of this is going to be hooked in, and I'm going to be sending it the fluorite ore via cables from refined storage. So this is going to get the sulfur dust. This right here is going to be receiving uranium that we're producing over here now that we have the big setup for it. And then this is going to be receiving fluorite ore. And I just got to get this bad boy upgraded. And we should be ready to rock and roll and make sure all the configurations are set up. Make sure we're outputting over here, and the right side is going to be the input. And I got to get all the configurations done for the machines. It is quite a pain. Most of them in this particular layout are already set up, but like, for example, this chemical here, I had to make sure to set up that it was outputting the gas to the top, so that way it sends it over to this machine, and so on and so forth. Really, I won't know until we start pumping items into this and get them all ready to go. So now here we go with the quantum entangle porter. This is going to need oxygen, so I'm going to select my oxygen one and make sure that the back is output, not on items. We need to be under gases. Back is output, and we need to make sure that it can accept the oxygen, which is actually, this just needs to be set to auto. And then the face. Okay. So we're going to have to tell it, hey, accept oxygen on the front. So there we go. So now we have oxygen there. This one we can use for water. So I just need to make sure that fluids, the input is set to top. We can select water. These quantum entangle porters are so freaking nice. I love this. And then here we go. We can have the fluids and make sure it can auto output, and make sure the bottom is set to output and auto eject. And there we go. We have the water that's going to produce water vapor. Should automatically start sending to all of this stuff. And I just have to get the cables hooked into the refined storage and get the items set to export. So now, after getting all of the sides nice and configured up, it is now up and running. Now, not very fast by any means, but it is running, and we are producing that fissile fuel. And I think this initial fissile fuel, we now need to take it, and we're going to have to use this to produce those pellets. Now, at the moment, this is super loud. I think what I'm going to do, make sure to sort recent mechanism, find what's making this noise, and there we go. definitely reduce that bad boy. I really love this muffler mod. Now, I went ahead and created a quantum entangled porter that is set up for fizzle fuel, and so this is now storing fizzle fuel. And the cool thing is I can actually send that over to this purification chamber, and this purification chamber is going to be hooked in and is what is actually going to be producing these pellets here. So I will just make sure to set this to gases output and output to the side. So that should accept fizzle fuel, so long as its input can accept it. I'm pretty sure this will work. Fizzle fuel, gas, output, auto eject on. And there we go. Now we have fizzle fuel in there. So I'm just going to have to give this power, but this is actually going to be another process of processing the fluorite. So I will have a crusher on top of that, and then an enrichment chamber. We'll hook up an exporter. The exporter is going to send fluorite. That's then going to get crushed. Then the crushed fluorite is then going to go into the purification. And then we just need an importer. And the importer is going to allow us to pull out the product. And so all of these just need to be set up where it's input from the right side. Go ahead and clear everything else out. And make sure we output to the bottom, auto eject. Simply input from the top. Like that. We can go ahead and clear this. Input from the top. Auto eject out to the bottom. And then same for this on the items input, and then we are going to output to the right side and make sure auto eject is on. It's fine. I don't think it has to be, so long as I don't think it has to be on because these importers can actually pull. So I will just get it plugged in here just like this. And so now we're just about ready to go. We have to get a couple of ender gates on here to just get it powered up. And make sure we get that fluoride ore in here. All right. And so this should start producing those pellets. Now, here's the thing that I probably want to do with this. I'm probably going to want to shut this off and using a detector to do that. So once we have so many of the pellets, I think what I'm going to want to do is just shut the machine off. And you can actually use the detector to send a redstone signal to the machine itself to shut the machine down. And I think that's going to be the best way to do that. And we can set this to redstone detection normal. And if we grab a lever, we should be able to tell whether or not this is running by a redstone signal. So a redstone signal will allow it to run. And so we know that if it has a redstone signal, it will stay on. Means that we can change up how we set up our detector. So let's set up a detector here real quick. And pellets. And we can say, make sure to keep, I don't know, 64 in stock. That should be fine. And then on this, because we want to send a redstone signal and we want to keep it running until it hits this amount, emit a redstone signal when it's above the amount. I don't think that is what we need. We want to emit a redstone signal, or stop emitting a redstone signal, right? So emit a signal when it is under 64. That will keep it running, and then whenever it hits 64, the redstone signal will go away and it will stop working. So that's exactly what I want. And should run. We have to hook a cable up to it though. I really wish these looked nicer, but there you go. So as you can see, it's now going to work. And once we have 64 of these in storage, it will stop working, allowing this fizzle fuel to be used for other things and not waste all this ore. So when it comes to setting this whole thing up, I have a clicking machine that is going to click onto this. So if we take a look at our blaze cakes, and I have a blaze cake in here, it should right click onto the blaze burner, I hope. I don't think we have to sneak right click. As you can see right there, it went. And I'm pretty sure that this will not click multiple onto here. Like once it's filled up, it no longer lets you click on them, I don't think. So I'm trying to click right now. It doesn't let me click. And so it's not like we're going to waste any by doing this. So by having them inside here, inside this machine, we should be good. All we need is an exporter on it, and we're golden there. So that process is pretty much automated now. So I need a way to get back into here so we can set up some of the cabling on the back, because the rest of this is just as simple as setting up an exporter with the crafting upgrades. And that's pretty much it. An exporter and an importer. Exporter on here, exporter here, and then we will set up an importer. My goodness. And we are about to have the next tier automated. So I think I'm ready to hook the cables up. So yes, right in here, I have all of those ingredients that we're going to need with a crafting upgrade. So it does make sure to craft these control circuits. An importer to pull the items in, and then this is going to make sure blaze cakes get put into here. And of course, once that inventory is full, it won't have anywhere else to go, but it should stop the autocraft still because 64 will still build up in the main inventory. Yeah, so with that plugged in, let's go ahead and make sure, let's see, this cable goes here and everything gets hooked up. It's putting the items in. Oh, but the importer is going to rotate out. So, essence. We need to make sure that it only pulls this item. So whitelist only pulls out the inert. And there we go. This is now processing. And we should end up with the inert. Now, the way we have this all set up is really cool because these essences, when it goes under that certain amount from this process being used, it's going to stop this from working. This is not going to work, thus prioritizing this and making all of these processes stop, which is a good idea because we want to make sure to prioritize the highest tier crafting because that's what's going to grant us the most EMC. So now we need to get to the other part, which is using a fluid encapsulator. We're going to go ahead and pull. I believe, yeah, we should be able to pull from the bottom. That's going to pull in refined fuel. And then we need an exporter. I should have one on me. Exporter is then going to send the essence that we just made. That's going to pull that into here. Then that's going to hopefully process. So I hope. It's not showing it working. Unless it's just literally that slow. That would be insane. And it should be refined fuel. It's got refined fuel. I'm hoping that's correct. Refined fuel. We have that. Encapsulator. Okay. Does it have to be just one at a time, or can it do multiples? I don't know. Let's try a thermal upgrade and some speed augments on it to see if that will get it up and running faster. Because it's not even moving. Oh, I hope this isn't like broke or something. Interesting. Oh no, it is just literally that slow. Why? Why was this made to be obnoxiously slow? Okay, so it goes a little bit faster with these upgrades, but it's still obnoxiously slow. That's insane. So what I've ended up doing is expanding this and getting all of these machines also running the same thing. This will technically speed it up 3 times as fast. Having 3 machines running instead of 1. But my gosh, this is still an oddly slow process, I think. So almost all of this is done. Thermal. I've just got to grab my linkage amplifiers to make them even faster. And this one is filling up. As soon as this is filled up, it is going to start filling these up with the other essences as well. I can go ahead and get that process a little bit sped up here. And this should start importing. We just need to say export on the side. And there we go. So that process is happening, interestingly enough. And I'm assuming we are then going to take this and spend it elsewhere, right? We need to turn it into this, which is going to be 460,000 EMC being produced, which is quite a lot. So yeah, just another press. And I think we're good. Now, just like our other one, we definitely want to keep some in stock. And so let's do this. And send the essence here. And we want to say 256. I think that's always a good number. Emit a redstone signal. to emit a redstone signal when above the amount. And we'll do the thing where we have this only work without a redstone signal. And that should function. I think that's the same thing we have set up here. Only work with a redstone signal. Emit a signal when above the amount. Emit a signal when above the amount. Only work with a redstone signal. Okay, never mind. I had it all set up wrong, I guess. Well, here we go. And that should... Yeah, this... Once it goes above the amount, right, which is 256, emit a signal when above the amount. And only work with a redstone signal. Yes, because we want to keep that in stock. We want to make sure we keep these in stock. And once it goes over that, then we can start converting them into EMC. Which right now, there's the other amount. For some reason, it doesn't show we collected our inert. So let's grab one of those. Am I missing something? Do I need to have an elite and... Oh, so I'm going to have to, like, go through all of this. Chemical oxidizer. I'm going to have... Oh, it's so weird when all of these do this. Okay. So it's going to make me, to be able to forward the quest, to get the quest going forward, we're going to have these exact amount of machines in our inventory in order to produce this. And then I have to have one of these in my inventory. Okay, well, this is why I love quests so much, right? So I just have a feeling this specific process right here was intentionally put here to make you want to craft the Watch of Flowing Time. That's literally, that could be the only reason why this is like that. And also to make you make the localized disabler, which this right here, the localized disabler is going to allow you to upgrade the machine to work with the Watch of Flowing Time, because thermal machines don't really like being sped up in that way. Its actual power can't keep up with this process being sped up like that. So after remaking several machines that I don't need right now, I now have the quest line done. So there we go. We got some extra things like a little bit of EMC here. And right here we have our essence. Very, very nice. Now, it does say I need one that hasn't been processed yet. So there we go. And looky there. So we now get a little bit more EMC, and this moves into this this part right here. But this should allow us to then start this section and start moving into the next tier. See, I wouldn't be able to get that 25 times ore processing done anyways, because I had to get this tier automation complete. So now I get this Essence of Darkness, which is going to lead into that 25 time ore processing, which is going to be pretty darn nice. So I can go ahead and EMC this. Also, I can EMC these finally. And there we go. So we're just about ready to go. I just need to put an EMC link on top of here. And once we get that all set up and everything's ready to go, we should be good. I could use importers here. I just like EMC links. They just kind of fit this particular theme. So with today's episode, we have successfully automated Tier 4 Essence. How cool is that? I'm pretty excited to see what the future holds with this mod pack, because there's still a bit left to do and it's a bit more create to get into, as this pack has actually had a lot of create in it. It's been really fun, honestly, because it's been doing it in a different way. But of course, guys, if you did enjoy today's episode and you did learn something new, be sure to click that subscribe button if you haven't already, and give this video a huge thumbs up. Guys, I really do appreciate you. Of course, it's now time also to thank the supporter of today's video. And that huge thanks is going to go out to Sugar Walls. Thank you so much for your amazing support, by the way, over on the Discord, becoming a Discord premium member and supporting in one of the best ways possible. I know I mention this every episode, but I would recommend, if you would, check out the Discord. We have over 27,000 members. I think we're edging super close to 28,000 members over there on the Discord. It's an amazing community, a great place to find friends to play with. And if you're interested in supporting, that's also a great place to do that as well. We do have sub-servers and all kinds of other perks that come with supporting. So it's just a way for me to say thank you guys for the continued support. I know I've said support a lot, but I do appreciate you guys. And of course, I hope you enjoyed this video. And as always, thanks for watching. Bye.